Hi, Julie. Michael Conway here. I wanted to go over your website and give you my impressions, both the design as well as kind of the functional elements, how it's put together, whether there are keywords, and kind of the structure of the user experience and the buyer's journey. Okay, so let's start. Um, so right out of the gate, I've got to tell you that rotating galleries like this were very popular some years ago, but they have fallen out of favor mostly because they're hard to navigate on mobile devices. That being said, a lot of places are still using them, but I'd be remiss if I didn't let you know that they are starting to feel dated, and there's a pretty heavy overlay here in order to get the text to pop off the background, right? So when I mean overlay, I mean that darkness that is over the images. And what that does is it prevents us from actually seeing the photographs, and is intended for us to concentrate on the text, but nobody's going to wait, the seconds that it takes to go from frame to frame to actually look at that text. So you're defeating the purpose actually of having these giant images and scrolling. I'd rather just see a really big image and then a description of all of your services immediately underneath with H1, H2 tags. Those are jargon, website jargon for uh, big big fonts. Basically, is really what it comes down to. Okay. So it's a single page website with some third party or secondary pages, secondary navigation pages, like the Our Work section. What I'm seeing as I go through is that we've got different size fonts used for inappropriate reasons and placed in odd areas. And this is really a search engine optimization thing, right? So this is probably an H3 or an H2. This is probably an H1. I have to go back and look. Let's go to the home page. So that may have been an H2 and an H3. Uh, this looks like an H1, but I'm not sure. So what Google looks for is for a structure much like an outline, right? So they want it to be H1 is the title of the page. You might have a small paragraph or even just a sentence or two, and then there'd be an H2 tag, which is a secondary kind of explanation as to what this page is about. And then throughout the article, you should have H3 and H2 tags, and all of these things are given greater weight based on their size in terms of Google's SEO algorithm. So H1 tags are really important, and they typically need to match what the URL slug is. URL slug is the area that comes after the crafted remodeling.com part here, right? So if I go to, let's see, Our Work should show it. So here is what we call the URL slug. So we want that to match the H1 for this page. And what we have here is once again another index page, which is a bunch of pages put together. Okay, and that we do have H1s on the individual pages, but because it's an index page, I want something that is more Our Work up here, or more importantly, services that we offer, something along those lines, right? And get a keyword in there. All right, so let me take a look in the back end here real quick. I wanted to show you something. So as I was going through, I just happened to be here on this particular page, but as I was going through, one of the things that we need to pay attention to is the fact that there's not a ton of text on this website. That being said, you're going to have to, kind of make up for the lack of text with search engine optimization every way you possibly can. And in this case, I started to look at the images, and what I realized is that you don't have any alternative tags for any of your images. Enable Lightbox is set, but if we go to, let's see, which one is this? Let's just cancel and do it again. So I'm going to edit this image, right? Mic tile size and edit Lightroom, that has no value whatsoever. It's just saying that it was edited in Lightroom and it has a number. That right there should be a descriptive term that includes a keyword of this, right? So I would say something more like uh, fireplace surround tile installation, Phoenix, Arizona would be a much better name for that. And then I would repeat that tile installation here, right, being your keyword. I would repeat that in the caption down here. Now, this caption here in the way that it works in Squarespace is this becomes what's called your alternative tag, and that is telling Google what this picture is about. So two things, right? It's going to look at this, right? So it's going to take that into consideration, and it's going to take this into consideration, and that's going to help these images get found in Google image search. But it's also just another indicator as to what this page is about. So if this page is about tile installation, I want it to say so here in this caption area, as well as here in the image name. So those are those are really important, and they're not being done, frankly, throughout the entire site. So all of the images that I looked at, it seems that none of that information was applied to any of the images here, including the ones that are in your gallery. So let's just make this back the way it was. Oh, let's just do this. Okay, so I just basically created tile installation fireplace around Arizona. So that now becomes, imagine keyword tile installation, and it's in the front, which is what you want. So I'm just going to hide it, and you have to do that for it to become an alternative tag on Squarespace. So I've hidden it there, and I'm going to hit apply, and it will stay that way. So we have this image now actually done correctly. I should also point out that on a mobile phone, and you can check this out. I won't do that here, but as these things degrade, meaning the images move one way or the other, the content moves one way or another. Um, because it's this photo, it what happens is that this photo changes. It goes way to the top, and I think that we wound up with two. Right, so this goes to the top of this one. The text goes to the bottom of it. The text here goes to the top because the things on the left always go above the things on the right. And this image goes down below. So it becomes confusing in that we have this photo on top of this one, and then we have a description that says in this photo, and then this photo goes down below, so it's not seen. It's just very confusing. And if you take a look on the phone, you'll see what I mean. And it's all an effort to make the design work, but certainly there are better ways to do that without having to confuse the viewer, the reader that is looking at this on a phone. All right, hold on one second. Okay, so I jumped over to the our work area. Once again, I want that to be something other than our work. Our work could mean anything in the world. Crafted services could mean anything in the world. All of these are just generic terms. I want these terms to be more specific to what you actually do. Now, I'm going to go over here and take a look. So I'm going to go to flooring and surfaces. If I click on it, this seems to be fine, but we have a page title, we have a navigation title, and we have a URL slug. I want the page title to be flooring and surfaces installed in Arizona or something along those lines. We want it specific to your location. And then I want that same thing to be in the URL slug down here, flooring and surfaces. Navigation title doesn't matter that much. And then in the SEO area, I want the same thing here. See, this changes, right? So it's floor and tile installation, which is different than what we had here in the general flooring and surfaces. I want that to match. There's no flooring and surfaces has very little value in terms of what people are going to be looking for. They may be looking for flooring, they may be looking for surfaces, but they're not going to call it surfaces. They're going to call it the specific thing that they want. So, wall tile, or they're going to call it, uh, Actually, they're going to look for brand names. They're going to call it Cambria countertops or, marble, those kinds of things. So surfaces doesn't help much in terms of the way that the public actually looks for these things. So this should match. And this here, this SEO description, that is what shows up in Google search. So let's see. So I'm doing a Google search for you. I spelled it wrong. Let's do that. Okay, so here you are, you're showing up. So that description, and this is your website, contact us. That description is right here. That's what this is. So already, right, when I look at contact us, that's fine. It's Mike and you are there, but what it appears to me is happening is it's probably pulling this from the page. I want a description of what you do. Let's see if there's other ones that came up. There are not. So your other pages, based on the fact that, as the SEO is not the best, it's you're not other pages aren't showing up in here. Other people's pages are. All right. So let's go back again and take a quick look at that. Okay, so this area here, this should be 156 characters. It's too big. It's much too big. So I know that they say that it can be up to 300 characters in SEO terms, up, what Squarespace says. But here's what happens. See, it gets cropped. So we want you to use these many words, right? So where it gets cut here to make a single and complete concept, right? So that includes the keyword for the page, flooring and tile installation. So we want that in this location here. And okay, so while we're along these lines, let me show you something else. Okay, so I'll close this. I pulled some information. I pulled one of your pages and dropped it into a tool that I used called Text Metrics. Okay, so this is a tool. It's called Text Metrics, and it's a search engine optimization tool. So this is your services page. And because your name is mentioned so frequently in here, they used your name as the keyword. That's what the bot is looking for. It's always looking for a keyword, and that's what it thinks the keyword is. Not services, which it should have been remodeling services. That would have been a lot better. But it's saying crafted remodeling because that's repeated often. Now, I'm all in favor of branding, but and using articles that are keyword branded, but you don't have enough pages on your website to make that your primary concern. What you really need to make your primary concern is, the the, the keyword that the page is about. In this case, services. And we'll see up here, right? Flooring installation. I want that to be your keyword for this. And once again, we can see it's at 276 characters. This should be 156 characters. Ideally, we want the title to also be, and it's taking into consideration your name for your site. So we would probably want to eliminate that. It's a setting in Squarespace that allows us to do that. But Crafted Remodeling Services, Crafted Remodeling LLC, 53 characters. We want a minimum of, we want a minimum of 40, but we never want it to go above 70 in this area. What concerns me more is this part here. So Crafted Remodeling, and what would we call it? So I'm going to call it Flooring Installation Services, okay? And then what I want to do is to change this to flooring installation, because that's what this page is going to be about, I think. Okay, so I click save. What's in there? Save. Okay, so it jumps up to 80%, and now we have a better sense of how to actually increase this number. So as I explained, I haven't explained yet actually. So this area here, this search engine optimization tool, what it allows us to do is to set our keyword, and then every time we do something correct, it actually increases this number. And the goal is to get this up to 98 to 100%. So if I go through and add things, so let's see. Okay, we talked a little bit. So we talked a little bit about location, and we also talked how it's important that the tags, the size of the font, that actually affects it. So here we go. I've got it in here. I'm going to make it an H2, and that should jump this up shortly. There we go, 89%. So we gained 5 points by making that an H2. Okay, this is weird. Google does take into consideration typos, which I just did, and that is an H3. That's good. Typos and other issues, grammatical issues, it'll affect it. So it's important that we actually, make sure that those are fixed, and actually use a tool Grammarly to do that as I go through. Okay. So I see now, okay, so it really wasn't flooring installation services. It really is all services. But personally, I think that stone and paver installation is really different than, uh, installing um, internal surfaces, right? So I would break all these up. I would actually make them individual pages. And I also noticed here that the URL, it really needs to be hyphenated, and it wasn't in the other area. And see what it did? It jumped it back up again because it didn't recognize flooring installation without the hyphens. It saw it as one word. Okay, so we have it here. So page description is huge, right? It's telling us in this area that we have to remove 118 characters to get it down to 158. So I'm just going to get rid of a bunch of stuff. Oops, let's do this. See if that gets us close. Okay, so it wants us to remove 2 more. Crafted model special installation of all types. It's unnecessary. We don't need to say that. So that actually is kind of a wasted set of words. But there we go. Better. Okay, so we've got our character, our meta description down, and that is now up to 93%. In the main content, I'm sure it's going to tell us that we need to add more. Right, so add the keyword 2 more times. But this is the only area really about flooring installation, so that becomes a problem. So full interior model and flooring installation. So it's going to jump it up in a second. Yep, 96. And we would just continue to do this in this tool to make sure that it works. Now, I've got a number of blogs on my website. I can send you a blog that will show you how to do this. But, mistakes like that, using the hyphen, mistakes by not having a keyword throughout, that's a common mistake. It's done by designers who don't take into consideration anything other than design. They're just looking to get the website built and have it look halfway decent. And so, SEO, in my mind, is getting found online. So it doesn't matter if nobody finds you online, they can't see your site. It doesn't matter how good it looks because they're not seeing it. All right, so hold on one second. Okay, so I want to take a look at the images here and show you what I found. So it's a gallery on the page, and as opposed to a gallery off the page, and then It's actually pulling it through. Okay, so let's go to that. So that's an awful lot of images actually for one gallery, and I guess it's an individual page, so it's not a big deal, but it depends on the size of the images. All right, so once again, flooring and surfaces, SEO, flooring and tile installation, would want to update that. No social image was added. There should be an image here, otherwise it's going to use your logo. So if somebody shares this, you want it to actually show your work. Take it back here. Media, there's no image on the top, so that's fine. Okay, let's go down to flooring and surfaces. I'm going to click on this. So this is visible online, so I always try to make these pages look as good as they possibly can. So we do have the title and we do have an image here, that's fine. And it's going to be all one, so that's good too, right? So it's just a gallery. There's nothing else that you can really do on this page. So I guess having the wall design is fine. What concerns me more though is this. If I click through, we don't have a title for the image. We don't have a description for the image. Both of those would help with SEO. If I go to options, this here, this part, that should be a description of what this picture is about. So if this is flooring, I'm not sure what kind of flooring it is, but let's just say, luxury vinyl tile installation Arizona, right? With hyphens between each of those words. That's a keyword that you'd want to get in there. That's going to help. That's not being done. And what I noticed is that's on every single picture in this area. So you're missing all of this content, all of this written, all the words, right? Because Google doesn't know what the picture is unless you tell it. It's not that good yet, though they're getting better. It really needs you to tell what that picture is, and that's where the title is coming in, the description is coming in, and over here, the image URL. That's where you would replace that with an actual word, at least one word, preferably a description, which includes, 3, 4 words with hyphens. Okay, so I'm back on the home page here. Once again, I think that flooring installation should be changed. Stone and paver installation should be a page of its own. Tile installation. So instead of having a crafted scope, just is not right either. It should be different, a term that people actually are looking for. So, and it should be, if it's services, then it should be about services here. So crafted services, what I would do is I'd get rid of all this text and just have a link through and then have a page dedicated just to flooring installation, just to stone and pavers installation, just to tile installation. This is confusing. I think the image back here is not the right image to put behind this. If you're going to put an image back there, I want something that's less busy, because our eye is competing. It's always trying to look for the image or look at what's on, here, right? So one of those two things. Also, I'd probably not use, I'm not sure why the map is a Google map as opposed to the designed version that Squarespace provides. Maybe you just didn't like the look of it, but it could help, because it doesn't show everybody else's companies. It would just show yours on the map, which I think is a better thing. Let's see. Let's just take a quick look here. Just want to take a look at the form. Contact form storage is going to something. Okay, so just going to Julie. I might connect it to, if you have other forms, if you're going to do any emailing, you would want to connect it to MailChimp. I think that email is a great way of building your brand and getting more people back to you, especially reaching out to previous customers who will then pass your information along. Okay, so let's just cancel that. We'll leave it as it is. I like this. I think this is great, but I want to know who you are. It doesn't say your names anywhere. And if anything, we want it to be personal, right? If you're going to show a picture of you and your family, you really need to either go all in or not do it at all, right? So who are you? Or don't show you, right? So I didn't see your names in here. So we would want that in there. Is this Instagram? Let's see. No, but it's not clickable, so it doesn't make sense. Once again, we just have random titles sort of thrown in here without intent. So let's take a look. What is going on here? So it's a gallery. Nope, no descriptions, nothing on it. Not sure why. They're really small images, so I'm not sure why they don't open up, into a full viewer if we're going to have it here at all. And partners is just kind of a royal mess. So, each one of these should be, you can probably find transparent versions of them, so that, or put them all in white or put them all in black. Basically, you want them to look similar. They should be the same size. Either choose a height or choose the width. I always go with the width, and I put everything in a square. And let me give you an example. So here, right? So this is a client of mine in LA. These are all the places that she's been published. So lots of logos, same idea, just different purpose behind it. But these are all in a rectangle that are exactly the same size. And then this is a gallery, the same thing that has been done on yours. Where are we? Here, except it's just more consistent. It's not sloppy. It just looks better. Um, and do these link out? They do, and that's awful because what has happened is they took us away from your website. So they didn't open in a new window, which is absolutely what you want it to do. So if I'm, looking at my navigation and I clicked on that, it's going to take me away from your website. I'm never going to get back to your website. Odds are they're going to get caught in Anzacs. They're going to start looking at their tiles, and then they're going to try to remember where you were and try to get back to you. Yes, you can hit the back button, but just a terrible process of doing that. You really want that changed so it opens in a new window. It takes about a second. So let's see, I'll just do it real quick right now. Edit. Okay. This should say Anzacs. Okay. Click on that. External. Sorry, my computer is freezing up. Here we go, right here, open links in new window. So all of these will open now in new windows, and it'll solve the problem. Let's look at the content really quick. Yeah, see, they're all different sizes. They're all over the place. So we want to make those all in squares, even if they're just transparent squares, so that there's the distance between each is the same. And ideally, you want to be trying to, when you're doing this, you can always do an image search. So Anzacs logo. Okay, Anzacs logo, images. Look, there are some black and white ones. You could do something along those lines. There's the red, there's the solid, there's a variety to choose from. So just choosing the right ones, looking at all of them. Let's see, settings. I'm sorry, tools, size. I want large ones. So I'm looking to see if there are any large ones. There's some large black ones, a large red one. But that's how I would do it. That's where I would start. Okay. So I wanted to show you the work to your galleries. So I wanted to give you an example of the best way to kind of construct a gallery of your work. and doing it in such a way so they can get more search engine optimization on the page and or long tail keywords. Now, Tolman is a client of mine. They're based in Alabama. They do kitchens primarily, $125,000 on average kitchens. So let's take a look at their portfolio. So we've got the portfolio here, and they do different things, right? So kitchen design is where I'm just going to go to. So kitchen design gallery, kitchen design is the keyword that we want to be known for. So kitchen design, new kitchens designed, which is a synonym for it, right? And then if you notice, we've got titles for each one, and included in those titles are location. So Alabama, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Tuscaloosa, AL, right? So these are important terms because he wants to be known in the area where he works, right? So in the locations he works. So let's see. Classic French-inspired kitchen renovation project, right? So there's no question what this is about. It's a classic French, which is the style. And then we actually even go so far as to mention the neighborhood and the location once again. Now, each page has a description, right? So we have our H1, our H2, then lots of text, and then, additional titles throughout. And the reason this works is because um, we're just getting a lot of copy in there, right? So once again, Google doesn't read images. It takes words into consideration, right? Classic French-inspired kitchen design, contemporary. These are keywords we want to be found for. Stunning visual focal point, not a big deal, but we do start to add, you know, Bianca Supreme Quartzite for countertops, right? So 8x Earth Crackle Navajo white 3x6 tile backsplash, right? So that kind of stuff actually are things that people look for online. Kohler Whitehaven farmhouse sink, right? That information is all in here, and it leaves nothing to the imagination. Google knows exactly what this is about. People have a better understanding based on the materials that are being used, what level of project they're doing. All of it kind of pulls together to explain exactly what this particular project is about. But more importantly, every project, every one of these has a page like that. And not only that, the next most important thing you could do in terms of getting found online would be blogging. So, not sure what's going on here. We've over the years, I've written probably 600 blogs for these folks, uh, and each one is designed to help somebody better understand the process of remodeling and building and doing certain things, right? So, things that people want to ask questions about. In this case, soundproofing when you're modeling a master bathroom suite, right? So we've got a full article here. Same thing, H1, H2, more H2s, H3, 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 text throughout, call to action, description, sign up now for our emails. It has an image, right? And not too many images, because the more images you have on a page, the less apt it is to be found in Google search because of mobile devices, right? Images take a long time to open up. So this is what I would recommend. This is the ideal version of a page for Google anyway, and it really just helps kind of get your name out there. Okay, the last thing I wanted to talk about is the imagery. I'm going to go back in here again. Okay, so if the photographs on your website need to be under 500 kilobytes, and I always say the long edge should be 2,500 pixels. So without kind of downloading everything from your site and dropping it into Photoshop, I can check just by the size, right? So we have 4,270 kilobytes. Um, so we don't want that over 500 kilobytes, which means that Images of this size are not going to be seen, or your website is not going to be seen because they're too large to load on a mobile device. And we know right now in the modeling industry, that's at about 57 to 65% on average. The number of people that are coming via mobile. You can actually look specifically on your site here. So let's see in analytics, traffic sources. It's direct. So everybody's coming directly to your site. They're not really finding you much in search. 13.9, 14%. Social, it's always low. People invest a ton of time in social media, and frankly, it very rarely results in a lot of people coming back. Let's see. You can actually tell if you have forms on your button whether people are clicking through. So you've had 14 people in the last 30 days. Sorry, geography. So people are mostly coming from the United States. That's a good thing. Traffic overall, it's gone up. That's a good thing too. 385 page views in the last 30 days. That's pretty good. Okay, so down here we're seeing by device type. So you're getting more from desktop than mobile. My question would be, okay, is that because it's not loading quickly enough and they're just not getting there, so they don't bother to come? Uh, that might be the issue. So anyway, we'd want to optimize the images and make sure that they're appropriate size so that they show up. It really is important to do that because it influences the way that Google shows your website in search. I also noticed two, let's see, search keywords, uh, connect account deactivated. So it looks like you might have set up Google Search Console at one time, but you definitely want to reconnect it. If I try to do that right now, it's going to connect to mine, so that's not a good thing. So just go back in and reconnect it here. That'll help you see how people are finding you. One last thing in the analytics is popular content. This gives you a better understanding as to what people are looking at on your website. So it looks like everybody's coming to flooring and tile installation. Uh, but see, it says installation, right? Commercial flooring, shower and bath. How about shower and bath remodeling? Or how about bathroom remodeling or shower installation, something along those lines. Kitchen and backsplash tile. Those kinds of things would be more beneficial. And I know you guys are moving into more remodeling, but we need to get some pages that actually indicate that, and that would help you find more people online. Okay, so that's it. What I'm going to do is send you the SERPstat report, which I'm doing here. It looks like it's still in progress. The last I checked, hold on. Yep, right here. So we're doing a site audit on it. It shows that you have referring pages from one domain. So I'm not sure if this is an older site. Let's see, referring domains. Let's go there. So you want people to link back to your website. Looks like it's still in Oh, no, here we go. Crafted hardware. So it is your own site. But you want people to link back to your site. That's another reason for blogging. I wrote a blog for Tolman once again that attracts about 40,000 people per month based on the fact that another site, a big popular site like House, I can't remember which one, Fresh Home, it was Fresh Home, linked back to that blog. So it just drives a lot of traffic back there. Okay, so this is it. What I'm going to do is send you this. I'll send you the reports. I'll send you the text metrics report as well, and the Screaming Frogs reports, which are here. Uh, it shows a variety of things like the H1 tags that are missing, that they should be there. You'll see it here. H2 tags, right, they're missing or too small. and it just gives a good amount of information. Anyway, I'll send you these reports as well. All right, thank you. We'll talk soon, Julie.